So welcome to the next session, berner+becker, also a young lady sitting over there. So that's not.
Yeah, this is Mrs. Jill Barthel.
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good, you?
Good. How is it in Munich?
Very good.
What's your status in Munich? Is everyone closing down schools and stuff, or is everyone pretty relaxed?
Yeah, it's still
okay.
quite relaxed.
Yeah.
Still quite relaxed.
I think some schools are closed though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be, and we see some people with masks, but not a lot.
Yeah.
But we're excited for today.
Yeah.
And a bit of a change of team, so it's me and Jill joining in. Yeah, but it's gonna be nice.
Absolutely. And Pontus is taking the Swedish approach. He just is relaxed and
nice.
What will happen, whatever. So yeah. As we did for Yannick before, I would love you guys to introduce yourselves quickly, a little bit your background, then do the 60 seconds pitch. Pontus, you are an expert on that already because you attended several camps. And then let's dive into whatever you prepared. We are curious.
Yeah.
So ladies first.
We'll do an introduction ourselves quickly, and then we thought we share our screen quickly to just go through two, three sort of slides, so we can in a 5 minutes maximum show the company, and then we go into Corona or revenue management in coronavirus times. Have a discussion about that. I think it's highly present topic at the moment. So we hope we can share a little bit of light on the subject from our perspective, what we see from clients and what we can see from data, and some tips and tricks that hoteliers can actually do and hopefully take with them then.
That's awesome. By the way, we're getting really nice comments as well in the chat, from shout-outs from people as well. Thomas Sergeant last night from Sea Hotels, and now from Stefan from Penta Hotels. So we'll keep it up. Thank you, guys. So, guys, would you just want to start to introduce yourselves and then dive into it?
Ladies first.
Okay, so hi everyone. I joined berner+becker in October last year. Before I went to university in Switzerland, studied hotel and finance management, where I actually not really met Pontus, but we've been at the same school.
Yeah.
So after that, I worked in operations for Kempinski around the world in Munich, China, and Seychelles, where I gathered revenue management experience, and then changed to consulting for 5 years. So now back to revenue management, and excited to join and to
HS and Trollgast, so good companies. So we had a good hire. So for the ones who don't know me, I'm Pontus Berner. Been way too long in this revenue management field, I feel. But as Jill mentioned, we went to the same Lyon University in Switzerland back in the day, and have been working in some of the big chain corporations, NH Hotels and Restaurant Hotel Group. And about almost 4 years ago now, actually, I founded berner+becker Revenue Management together with my friend Lars Becker, who's not joining in today, but he sends his regards to everyone. And since then we've been on the market with our company offering revenue management services to hotels throughout Europe. So that's me.
Which was actually a very fast and impressive ride. I can tell that because I was monitoring it from the very beginning. It was really great to see how fast you grew and how happy your customers are as well, based on the feedback that we get.
Yeah.
So, alrighty. So you want
to you hear that? That's obviously echoes well. Then it's perfect.
Absolutely. You wanted to share your screen, right?
Yes. So let me do that. Let's see if I get this all to work. We're gonna do share. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. So I just wanted to share 2-3 slides for the ones who don't know us. This is us. We believe that every hotel should have access to great revenue management. We set out back in the day to, with the feeling that with a large part of hotels in Germany being private and smaller chains, they don't really have access to any professional work labor in this field. Any hotelier knows that searching for a revenue manager on Hotel Career or any other way knows it's difficult to find good and qualitative people. So this is our credo. This is why we exist. To really be a true alternative for hoteliers to hiring their own revenue manager. Next slide. So who we are, as we mentioned, we opened up shop in May 2016. Things have gone pretty quick since then. About a year later, we hired our first employee, Fight Maya, who's our director of operations and development nowadays. He was supposed to join, but got hindrance with another important client meeting, so we let him go, and we did a tandem here, me and Jill. But yeah, since then we grow to a team of 14 people, with everyone very skilled in their field, and helping hotels all around Europe at the moment in different countries. And our mission is obviously to create a good RevPAR effect on the bottom line results for the hotels. The last slide I'm going to show is just a short overview of what we do then as a company. We have three main offers. Outsourced revenue management. This is really where we are quite unique in the market with our product. We work with available systems on the market, and then we complement that with our human brain power and strategical knowledge. And we really do the daily revenue management works and tasks that anyone working in a chain or a hotel would do. So it's, like I said, a real alternative for a hotel to hiring their own revenue manager. Consulting projects we also offer, especially good for new opening hotels that want strategies and prices and distribution setups and so on right from the beginning. And we also offer revenue management training, where we come to the hotels and hold revenue management trainings for the teams on property to sort of create that revenue culture and boost the knowledge. And we also do public revenue trainings. And actually the next one is coming up 28th of May here in Munich. And at the end of the session, I'm going to share a code in the chat to offer anyone wanting to sign up and listening in today a 15% discount on to come and join us here in Munich. Good,
oh, wow.
No?
Does that apply for flats in Munich as well?
Sorry?
I was just kidding. No, I just said, does that 15% discount apply for flats in Munich as well?
Yeah. Let's say this. With our hotel contacts, it might apply on the hotel night at least for when you come and join.
At least? Not too bad.
The coronavirus times, prices are anyway dropping.
That's true, yeah. Okay, so you wanted to cover the coronavirus topic.
Yeah.
And the influence of Corona on revenue management.
Yeah. A lot actually at the moment. We thought we can structure the talk into a couple of different parts, but the first one being what sort of impacts do we see from this already from the market and our clients. If we look at some market share data statistics available, it clearly shows that the whole sort of province around Wuhan in China, RevPARs basically for February were decreasing with around 40%. So with that said, it obviously has a huge effect on travel, and I think travel industry is one of the industries that in any sort of recession times get hit almost first. People simply stop traveling. So it's a tricky situation, and it's basically then entering a bit of how to do revenue management in those type of times, whether it's coronavirus or another local or bigger recession. It's a bit of the same type of strategies. We can also see stuff from the clients.
Yeah, I mean, even before the big cancellations or annullations of the fairs and conferences, you could see already a little bit of a slowdown in transient pickup. However, it was hard to say whether it was really an effect of Corona, but now that main conferences like ITB, so many in Munich, Nuremberg, all around Germany, and even UAE and so on have been cancelled, you can see drastic impacts, especially since the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it will continue. I mean, it's there's still a lot of big conferences outstanding. In addition to that, a lot of companies have put out bans on travel for their employees. Main reason being the fact that there's no more supplies coming in from China for different companies, so there's no need to travel. And that will continue to have an impact. I guess it will depend on how long it will continue with the factories being closed in China mainly as well.
So that's a bit crazy. Like a lot of, like you said, pairs are missing. A lot of group cancellations come in, and also transient business is declining for sure. So that's, I guess, the first things that we really see from the market. Well, then we had a question. So, will this affect, like, let's say, will 2020 budgets be met by hotels? For sure, here we need to think, or need to realize, so what does it mean for a hotel if a fair like ITB cancels, or a Hannover Messe in April that's supposed to still be going on, but obviously it's a big chance that it gets postponed or cancelled. So one such fair can easily mean for a 100-room hotel around 200,000 euros in additional revenues just for 1 month for a fair. So a fair of 5 days has really like an incremental impact of 200,000 euros. So obviously, if you just take away those things, this is type of demand that no revenue manager or no revenue management strategy or no price setting can compensate for. So this is simply missing money. You can't, as a rule of thumb, you can never create demand. So if the demand simply goes away in those cases, that will have those quite severe impacts. And unless the fairs are postponed and come back this year and the money still comes within the year, then there is chance to boost back. But if it doesn't, budgets of 2020 will for sure be very difficult to reach for hotels.
I mean, and even if it is postponed, the question is how much can you compensate if people didn't factor in a fair to take place that they factored in, for example, in March, they might not have factored into their business plan for July or August, whenever it's going to be postponed to. So the question is whether the fair will have the same impact in the months it is being postponed to.
Yeah, exactly. What we can also see from if you look at some historical data, what happened in SARS, for example, in 2003, there was a total lifespan of, let's say, a drop in occupancy and RevPARs of around 6 months from the moment it started until the market was recovered. Now, the last 2 months of that is actually the recovery period when things start picking up again. And that is what you can also see from other type of recessionary times. So we're not obviously doctors or experts or know where all this is going to go. And what we can say, when the recovery is finally starting at some point, it should be around the 2-3 months time where we see then the market's recovered. And let's say a fact is still that the incubation period for being sick is around 2 weeks. So at one point, it's, even though it spreads a lot and become a worldwide pandemic, at some point it's going to go back, we think. And our, let's say, current estimation is 4 to 5 months of, let's say, chaos, but then we would expect to see some bounce back in the markets.
Hopefully. We are on our tipping point for asking questions, because that's a topic which is obviously discussed a lot. I get so many feedback from hoteliers as well when we speak with them during the last days. We get feedback from providers on cancellations and non-cancellation stuff and whatever. So can we jump in and ask some stuff in between? Is that okay with you?
Sure.
Well, actually, like now that you mentioned SARS, it's a super interesting question, because many people are looking back and are now saying like, okay, we should not do as hoteliers the same mistakes again at the time than just dropping the price and try to recover via that. So what do you recommend your hotels in doing now?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Well, definitely not dump the prices, because we are confident that people that were supposed to travel on business, if their companies don't allow them to travel anymore, they won't travel if you drop the rates by 50%. So there's no point in dropping the rates. And also, if you look at reports or analysis from previous recessions, hotels that dropped drastically their rates, it took them a long time to build the trust back and get the brand awareness again up to the point where they were before. Yeah. So I think it will only result in a long-term damage to your brand and your hotel if you drop rates too drastically. What you should look into is to maybe stimulate new segments, or look into different segmentations that you declined maybe previously. for example, a wholesale business that you declined for your hotel, see whether you can reinitiate that piece of business. Or work with short-term promotions without changing the bar levels. So people know that, oh, now there's a discount on that hotel, but the bar rate is still at the same level. So I know it's only a promotion for 2 weeks. So either I take it or I leave it, or become a little bit more drastic with your fencing the rates. If you offer a discount, then also make it an advanced purchase without cancellation, no refund on it. So you're sure to have that money in the house already.
Yeah, just like you said, it's in essence, if you put a top or a header on it, it's go opaque and don't slash your bar price too much. Obviously, you need to, let's say, hotels usually work in a range of prices, right? They say one hotel works between 139 and 169 or whatever euros in normal mid-season week, and probably you put yourself at the lower end. But other than that, go different about finding your business than just slashing your bar rate. So this is different segmentations, different type of promotions, and work as opaque as possible. And wholesaler, like Jill mentioned, no one sort of likes it because it screws up rate parity and all these things. But let's say rate parity is maybe a lesser problem in such a period than a normal one. So you need to make some compromises on those kind of things. Another good some things you can actually do is to, for example, oversell your room categories a bit more as a hotel. So if no one buys or has the money enough to buy your superior categories, you overbook your standard and you do free upgrading rather than having the rooms empty. So these are all things you can do to get business in and to fill your hotel. It will obviously be filled to a bit lower prices and lower revenues than normal, but this is how you can still optimize this current situation.
Yeah, or maybe try to stimulate your leisure business a bit more. If people are not allowed to travel for business, they might want to spend the weekend away, but they don't want to travel abroad because of the virus. So they want to stay within Germany or within the country they are living in. So especially now with the Easter holidays, try to offer promotions for the Easter holidays to get at least some leisure business in.
Yeah.
So what is your recommendation right now for hoteliers, how to manage all these last minute cancellations? Do you recommend them to fully charge and insist on the cancellation fees, or do you recommend to offer some sort of compensation, or if you book next year again, we give you an upgrade or whatever? Do you have any best practice? Because a lot of hoteliers are unsure whether they should be charging fully or not.
And it's a super question because now in Berlin with the cancelled ITB, we see a lot of upset, even from our own industry, upset people on how the hotels are handling it. So super question.
Let's say like this: if you just look at the legal perspective of it, someone that booked a room in Berlin to go to ITB has a contract with the hotel, and it's not necessarily that this room was booked for ITB. It would be a different thing if a hotelier sells a package with ITB and the room is really connected with a fair visiting. In those cases, you would have to pay back. A hotel usually then, let's say it's not then and it's just booked as normal. The hotel has no legal obligation not to charge the booking if it is a non-refundable rate. A hotel usually sells then for fares, a mix of non-refundable discounted rates and also a mix of public bar prices, but those bar rates during fares usually have also a 14 or 20-day cancellation policy compared to a normal week. So when the ITB was cancelled, this time period is also passed, meaning the hotel has the right to charge everything. Now, there are obviously two sides to the coin here, right? So if you want to think short term as a hotel and you say, I want my money, you simply charge it. And if you're very, very scared about what this can do to your reputation, etc., you can obviously be a bit more lenient. I would say, however, from our best practice experience and what we see hotels actually doing is that you need to do a mix of that, but probably actually charge to get the money essentially, because everyone will sort of more or less do the same. So if let's say the whole market would give everything back for free and you're the only one charging, then you're going to look very bad. But if everyone charges, it's simply the way of business. A flight company, for example, they're super strict on these things. You would never get anything back.
People are always more accepting those kind of strict cancellation policies with airlines or with hotels. Everyone always expects to get everything back.
Yeah.
What we also saw from some hotels is that they charge a certain amount of the cancellation fees of hotel rooms that are in relation to fares. And then in case the fares is going to take place at a later point this year, they might charge back some of that amount if the guest is staying at the same hotel in that period. Then
and Booking.com sent also some of these OTAs and
exactly emails. That they are Booking.com just announced that they will be strict on the cancellation policies that have been set up to the hotels, and then leave it to the hotel to decide whether they will refund the client or not. So it is.
That was very clear. Okay, interesting. So how do you foresee what will happen with the event management in the next few months? Obviously, with all these big events cancelled, do you think that's going to have a massive impact on hotels? Or do you think because most events in hotels are more local, there is still a good chance of, doing business as usual?
I think so. These big fairs, the international fairs, in which there are a lot of in Germany, they obviously cancel, and that has a huge effect. Let's say our hope, but this is really speculation, is that at least maybe 20 to 30% of the cancelled fairs within the coming 2-3 months now, hopefully are put within this year at some point, if there is a slot found free in those messe halls, etc. But probably the majority won't happen again this year. So yes, there is a huge impact on lost revenues for the hotel markets, for restaurants, taxis, everything, that get boosted by those fairs normally. So that will simply be lost money. It won't come back. But hopefully a part of it will be scooped. I personally hope ITB happens at some point this year still, that we can all sort of get going a little bit, but probably not.
No.
You think not, right? No, I just see that like going, no. Yeah, I think also not, but but some fairs, like there's a small little sea fair currently in Hannover. Next week it got postponed to June. So that was the message directly. There's a new date for the fair. So some for sure will happen within the year, but the majority, like I said, probably not.
Yeah. I think we will need to see as well on how it evolves and based on Corona as well. And I just heard last night as well that all trade shows in Düsseldorf are cancelled until June or something, right?
Yeah.
So it really depends on the different cities. Switzerland's with a limit of 1,000 people. If you go beyond, it's cancelled. So there's a lot of different things going on. I maybe can share a private perspective on this as well. So we wanted to go to Lanzarote in April for Easter holiday, right? And we just book it based on all these things, or otherwise we might have even canceled it. And so I think for local tourism, as you mentioned before, precisely for Germany, Switzerland, Austria, maybe even France, there's a good chance of capturing that leisure audience.
Yeah.
Because we want to go on holiday. Yeah, we want to relax. We want to take some time off, but we maybe don't want to go by train, or we don't want to go by flight or whatever. We just take our car and drive somewhere.
Yeah, and this is something I've been thinking as well. It's like, and the question whether you recommend that to your hotels as well, because I think with globalization we can't think so narrow anymore. I mean, a volcano can erupt at any point in time. I mean, there's like about 3 to erupt around the world right now, and that will heavily affect the area. So and not just the area, because of like, or something like SARS or now the Corona. So do you how do your hotels think about, and how do you speak to your hotels about looking at their commodity differently? Like, for example, looking more at the very local market, like within their city. And I don't mean just hotel rooms, I mean hotel space, this move on, like have like a co-working opportunity for people with, when you have like, is that something you recommend to your hotels?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I mean, if you just look at the past few years, we saw a trend when it comes to leisure traveling. When you talk about globalization, we could see already a huge trend in more people traveling more locally again. Like there was a huge increase in, for example, German travelers staying within Germany for summer holidays, for going to the seaside, or mountain hiking became much more popular again because of terror attacks around the world. Exactly. So people became a little bit more focus on staying in their country and explore what actually their own country has to offer. Yeah. So I think this is a good example to use in this case of scenario now as well, to make people stay more and capture whatever is around you. Yeah. And it actually goes along with being conscious about the environment as well, to make people stay and do a cycle tour within their own region, for example, and stay at a hotel to relax.
So the hotel can push those kind of things in their marketing messages. And like Jill said, it's very evident from the terrorist attacks in the past years how much the travel turns local. So I would expect the Nordsee and the Ostseeküste in Germany to be fairly full this summer, and the people in Bayern are going to their mountains and lakes around here. So it's not a lost case of summer tourism, for sure not. It's different, and you need to then, adapt your SEM, your SEO to be on those local markets more in your marketing messages, and then you can for sure thrive very well on that demand. And let's say, if we don't now hope, or I think if we have a bounce back at some point, hopefully at least Q4 this year is going to be back to fairly normal with fairs and so on happening, maybe even as from September. And that is, if I would write a budget with the knowledge I have today, I would, or rewrite a budget for a hotel, I would, the next 6 months look fairly critical, but then we have local demand in the summer, and hopefully from September fairs will happen again, and Q4, hopefully world economy has rebounded a little bit. But this is obviously quite speculative at the moment.
I can't believe, but we are over time already.
Went quick,
30 minutes have gone with a feeling of like we just spoke for 5 minutes, because it's such a current topic, and important and interesting. And so thanks for sharing your insights on that.
Thanks for having us.
I would figure and guess that if any hotelier who is insecure out there about how to approach revenue management in this crisis wants to reach out to you, he will be able to find you, right?
Yes, absolutely. Please do so. You can contact us anytime you see us, or you find our contact details on our website. So just reach out, and we're happy to give some advice and give some help.
And there's a comment coming in, Lena. What's that?
Yes, it's coming from Nikki, and Nikki is saying thank you so much for the valuable insights.
Yeah, thank you.
So Becky, if I can say just a ending word, what hotels should think about, go opaque, rethink your targets, redo your budgets, rethink targets. There's no point in fighting for something that's utopic. Go opaque, don't slash your bar rates too much, and also rethink your cost. If your hotel is going to be much less occupied than normal, close the bottom floor, save energy costs, redo your staffing, and make sure you keep your profit margin in check.
Yeah, that's great.
And maybe call berner+becker.
and call us. So now
thank
this is for sure a time for strategical thinking and decisions, and not only, if you have only looking at the pricing system that looks at competitors, that could be quite dangerous and in the downward spiral. So you need to definitely do some thinking here.
Yeah, cool. Thank you so much for your insights. We talk anyhow all the time, Pontus, so I talk to you soon. Yeah. And thank you guys as well for your contribution, because they know a lot more about revenue management than I do. My joke. And we are now switching, so hopefully everyone in the line will stay tuned, because we are now switching over to Valentin, PCI proxy for more PCI compliance. So thank you.
Thanks guys, have a nice day.
Have a nice day, bye bye.